Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be reviewing the MoonSport MX STEM computer mount with integrated light. Is it an out-in-front computer mount or is it a bike light? The answer is both. The MoonSport MX combines a computer STEM mount with an integrated bright 400 lumen bike light. It's a very unique product and one that combines multiple accessories into one. In terms of packaging, it's very simple. You have this plastic cover that actually shows you the light. You can see the top mount for your computer, the front main LED, and then the COB LED underneath it. You have MoonSport's distinctive yellow and black color scheme. It has their VLS system and a bunch of the specs written on there. Additional details on the back, along with a QR code to pull the user manual as well. You have all the contents written on the side. It's very easy to use. We'll go ahead and take it out of the box and go over the specs. Retail price on this is $75.99, and with that you get a combination mount, bike, and light. So it's actually quite bright at 400 lumen maximum output, and you get dual lighting elements that includes a main element in the front and then the COB LED on the bottom for more of a B-scene style light. It uses a CREE LED on top and then the COB strip on the bottom, and allows you to have multiple output modes. So if you're running in the daytime, you can run just the bottom. If you're running at night, you can run the combination, and you also have flash modes as well. It has a variable lumen system, which is something MoonSport has with a lot of their products. And that means you can actually dynamically adjust the lumen output up and down by simply holding the button and then releasing where you want it. And it's something unique to MoonSport. It has a USB Type-C charging system with a 500 milliamp battery, lithium-ion battery directly built in with USB Type-C charging. The main part of the light with the battery pack disengages from the body, and this is the part that's attached via bolts to your stem, and that allows you to recharge the bike light very simply without having to keep it on the bike. Now in terms of what comes in the box, quite a few things. So we get the light, and you also have a puck pre-installed. Apparently this works for Garmin, Wahoo, and Brighton. For Wahoo, you remove the bolt and rotate this 90 degrees. And for Brighton or Garmin, it simply works as is. You get MoonSport yellow USB cable. It's kind of unique. We typically only see these in black. And USB Type-C, so you don't have to use the older style interface. You get the user manual, which you can also get from their website, or the QR code. And again, in their nice yellow color scheme. This tells you all about the operations. It is a fairly complex light, as there's quite a few modes and options. And then you also get the bolts and washers, and you need these for installing these on your bike as it installs on your stem. So you can see you get multiple options with washers and different lengths to accommodate different bikes. Now let's take a look at the weight of the MX. Because it combines multiple features, it's a little bit heavier than a normal out front mount, and you do need 2 bolts to mount it to your stem. So that comes in at 96 grams. It's a 2-piece design, so you can see there's a little release button here, and then you just pull up on it and it releases. So you have the main plastic body. This has the bolts that you would run through here with the little spacers on the other side to push this off the bike slightly. Then this would slide in. And the main body of this part is actually metal, so it's a CNC aluminum construction with plastic as well. So very nice design. This part's the metal, and then the COB LED and dual lighting elements give you everything you need. You also have the multiple output modes, so you have side lights, you have the bottom light that you can flash, and then side visibility thanks to this, as well as all the front light you need with the larger spot beam on the front. The user interface is a bit complicated though, as you only have 2 buttons that are almost hard to tell they're buttons, especially compared next to the similarly shaped side visibility indicator. There's no real rubber or texture to it. You can see it's almost flat, so it would have been nice to see a little more grip there. The other side has the USB port under this nice rubber grommet, and it's a USB Type-C, not a micro USB, so very nice. And with the 500 milliamps in here, you have nice quick recharging and easy to use. You don't have to search for other cables. So going back to the interface, there's quite a few features here. When you first receive the light, it'll actually be in a lockout mode. So lockout mode means you can't actually turn it on. So you can see this is a transportation type mode. So if you want to store this somewhere and you don't want it accidentally turned on, you can see it won't respond, it won't turn on, it'll just flash. To disable or enable the mode, just hold it for 5 seconds, the left button, and then you should see it flash. So now it's now on. There's multiple output modes. You can combine the dual mode with the front light and then the COB LED, and this is great for visibility, be seen, and then this one's great to see. And you can see 30-degree adjustment with that light. So you can customize it depending on which angle you mount this in and reduce glare by actually rotating it downward. If you press the main button again, you can actually cycle through the options for this mode. So it's hard to see here, but there's different brightness options. There's a low and a high. If I press the other button on the right, it will go between the beam options, so you can run the top only. So if you're at nighttime, this is a good option. You don't really need the COB LED. Press it again. In daytime, this is nice to have just the COB LED. And you can see it's slightly recessed in, so it won't actually provide glare. Won't give you glare when you're looking at it. And these little lights, side visibility light, helps you be seen as well. But more than bright enough, especially head on or at smaller angles. You can also do flash modes here by holding the left button for 3 seconds. And this is a little bit confusing. If you hold it for a little bit longer, it'll go into lockout mode. So the interface could be improved. So you have multiple flash modes. If you press it again, you have steady flash, which is low to high instead of on off. You have on off. And you also have this SOS mode, which is definitely good for daytime visibility. And the other nice feature about this is, as with a lot of Moonsport products, you have the Variable Lumen System. So if I go out of flash mode again, hold it for 3 seconds, you can see that if I switch to the main mode, dual mode, if I hold the right button, it'll actually ramp up and down. So that was max. It'll ramp all the way down, flash when it hits the minimum, and then increase to the max. And you can release it anywhere in between to get the exact output you want. It's a nice feature. It's kind of helpful to adjust it to an exact amount, especially if there isn't the exact lumen you want. So you simply press and hold, and it's very easy to use as well. There are quite a few features here though, so the 2-button interface takes a little bit of time to get used to, but once you've used other Moonsport products, it's quite similar. The other thing you have is something called boost mode. So if you're riding and it suddenly becomes very dark or in a dark tunnel, you can double click the top button and this will give you the maximum mode. So this will do ultimate brightness. So definitely a nice feature. So even if you're in the lower mode, so if I go back into just that mode with the daytime visibility, go in a tunnel, double press that button, gives you the maximum 400 lumen output. And then when you're out of the tunnel, you can double press and turn off. Now let's set up the Moonsport MX mount and bike light. Unlike a traditional out and front mount, which just has 2 bolts and goes around your handlebars, this one actually connects to your stem. So I've already taken off my front bottom bolts. And then you want to position this so that it aligns onto there. Now you're provided with 3 different length spacers. You can see these little plastic spacers or metal spacers. I've placed them in here, and the one you want to pick is the one that allows you to sit this flush without hitting the other part of your stem. So these work out well for me. And then you have 3 different length screws as well. So you want to pick the one again that'll stick through here. So you can kind of visualize and make sure it comes right through there, but not sticking out too much. So for me, the shorter length with the middle length spacer worked out best. Then you want to simply drop this through. Make sure you put the washers as well. And then put these on by simply using an Allen wrench, and don't over tighten. Use the recommended mount printed on your stem. And what this basically does, it provides you a nice solid mount for the light holder, and then the MX actually just slides in here. And you can see I have the bike propped up vertically, just to make this a lot easier. Now you can actually take the rest of the MX stem light and then simply slide it in. And you can see a very solid mount, and it replaces your out and front mount with a much cleaner one-piece solution. Here you can see the mount on the bike, and you can see it's actually pretty nice and flush. So because it's mounted on the bottom, it's pretty low. So that means if you put your computer on here, Even a Brain 750, which is rather large, it's almost flush with the top of the handlebar, so nice and sleek look. You can't adjust the angle, though. That's one downside. You have to have it flat, as it's only oriented based on the bottom bolts. The other thing is interesting is that this is a Brighton, Garmin, or Wahoo puck. Even though Brighton's a little bit different than Garmin, it does seem to work here. Unlike other Garmin mounts, which cause a lot of friction as you rotate, this one's a lot looser, so I think they've adjusted the spacing to work. You don't get a nice click with the Brighton, so you can see it's just a friction fit. With a normal Garmin device, this is a Magicshine Ray 2600. It does have a click, so it does lock into place, which the Brighton doesn't have. And you can see there's even enough space here for a big light. And if you had a smaller Garmin computer, you could use that as well. The only incompatibility you can have with this style mount is any of the Aero style lights or computers, which have a little indentations here, as this is almost flat. Now let's take a look at the different output modes. There's quite a few options here. You can run boost, which is the full power, the full 400 lumens, or you can run the separate modes where you can run dual for 2 mode options. And all these options, the lumen count and runtime, are customizable using the VLS setting. COB LED is great for daytime writing, as it has high runtime and is more of a B scene light, while that CREE LED is adjustable and bright enough for nighttime writing. There's also quite a few flash mode options, and they're available for both the combo or the individual ones as well, so you can run whichever variation you prefer. And it's great to see steady flash, which is nice for nighttime riding, as well as daytime flash, which is really bright and will catch riders' attention. Here you can see the beam shape against the wall. The COB LED is more of a floodlight, so a B scene, while the CREE LED is bright in the center and lights up the road. At 400 lumen, it is bright, but it's not as bright as other Magicshine lights that are available, so it's definitely better for urban riding, commuting, or daytime riding. If you need more power, I'd recommend 1000 lumen or that range for darker trails, but this is something you can definitely ride with on dark trails if that's part of your commute. So now let's do a quick comparison between the MX and other products. The most direct comparison here is the Fabric Lumaray V2. Now the V2 is actually designed to work with other mounts and goes right on top, so you can see side by side. The fabric is a lot sleeker, and you have a COB LED strip that goes around, and at 60 lumens, it's a lot dimmer than the MX. We do like the fact that it has a wraparound design, where the COB LED strip on the MX is just limited to the bottom. It would have been nice to see this wrap around for that sleeker look. But again, the MX quite a bit brighter, especially with this main light, compared to just the COB LED for the fabric. But again, sleeker design, and this does not replace your mount, it works with a mount. So you could theoretically combine these two for double B scene light, while the MX replaces the need for a normal out front mount by mounting directly to your stem. Now speaking of 400 lumen lights, we do have the Magicshine Allty 400. And you can see here, it's quite a bit bigger, so mount them onto each other. It's a larger body, higher runtime, and a bigger beam. So you compare the beam side by side, you can see this is bigger, so better to use on its own. But if you want a more integrated solution, the MX is pretty hard to beat. And with the adjustable angle of the light, that's a feature you don't typically see, so you can tune it. And you can always combine these two, so if you're ever going on really dark trails and 400 lumens is not enough, you can put bigger lights on here depending on how much space you have. Now let's go over the pros and cons for the Moon Sport MX. What we like about it is that it has USB Type-C, which makes it easy to share cables with other devices. It's also quite bright at 400 lumens despite the small size, and the fact that it combines a computer mount with a light reduces the clutter on your handlebar. Some of the cons for the device is the fact that it has a premium price, and the mount also doesn't really work well with Brighton. You would need a different puck, which they don't currently appear to offer. It also lacks a battery status checker. There's only a low battery status indicator with the side light, which is really easy to miss. Taking everything into account would give the MX an 8.0 out of 10. It's a great computer mount and light combination. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see more content from us on our website at thesweetcyclist.com, as well as follow us on Instagram at thesweetcyclist. This is The Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.